Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. The Russians examined the drones, the part of the drones that attacked the harbor of Sevastopol, the Russian ships over there, allegedly damaging three of them, one of them being the flagship, the Admiral Makarov. That's a new flagship of the Black Sea Russian fleet. And there's some footage on that. I made a video regarding it. I made a shorty actually. And the thing is, the Russians analyzed and they came with a conclusion that's very interesting. The same day, which was yesterday, the Russians withdrew from the so-called grain agreement, delivery, the corridor. Remember that safe corridor that they agreed with Turkey and Ukraine and United Nations, that they will provide that grain corridor. Well, it seems like those drones came from that corridor. Because at first I said, well, why would they just withdraw out of the, get out of the grain deal? And then these guys explained in this article kind of makes sense. This article comes from Sputnik from today, the 30th of October 2022. Russia retrieves and examines part of the drones used in Sevastopol attack, Ministry of Defense says. The Russian Defense Ministry raised from the sea bottom and inspected fragments of the drones that were used to strike ships and infrastructure of the Russian Black Sea Fleet on Saturday, which revealed that they were launched near the port city of Odessa, the ministry said on Sunday. The ministry noted that its specialists, in coordination with experts from other state agencies, examined the Canadian-made navigation modules installed on the maritime drones. And I'm quoting, according to the results of recovery of the information read from the memory of the navigation unit, it was established that the launch of the maritime drones was carried out from the coast near the city of Odessa, the ministry said. The drones were moving along the safe zone of the so-called grain corridor before swerving towards Russia's Navy base in Sevastopol, according to the ministry. Now, I'm sorry, but if you look over the map, it's kind of a distance between that corridor and from Odessa to Sevastopol. So I don't know, it needs some time, and these guys could probably find the drones coming towards them, but it seems like they didn't do any of those. Coordinates, and I'm quoting, coordinates of the trajectory of one of the maritime drones suggest that it was launched from the waters of the grain corridor safe zone in the Black Sea. According to experts, this may indicate a preliminary launch of this drone from one of the civilian vessels chartered by Kiev or its Western supporters to export agricultural products from Ukrainian ports, the ministry said. So, this is why you guys say, we're done. Not because they were hit. Because I assume that, why are you guys crying, the Russians, and you just take your toys and leave the playground because you got hit? I mean, that's poor sportsmanship here. I mean, you use your fleet to hit the Ukrainians, but when you get hit you start crying. What the hell is that? But it was more to that, obviously, and that is at least to what the Russians claim in this article, which is, well, you see, we allow these guys to come with their commercial ships, pick up grain and go back, and it seems like these guys, when they came towards it on that corridor from these commercial ships, they released drones, military drones, that attacked military targets and infrastructure in Sevastopol. Now, I think that's not good. I don't want to say not fair, but it's kind of interferes with the agreement. I mean, I let you, without the agreement, those ships would not have been there. Therefore, the drones would not have been there. All right, so let's start with that one. So that's probably one of the reasons says, okay, now you blew it. We're not gonna be part of this agreement, and we're gonna create another blockade and we're not going to let you do this anymore. Anyway, I think the Western guys who are in control of the Ukrainians, they calculate, I mean, it's already November. I don't know how much grain needs to be transported out of Odessa anymore. Probably the grain was mostly taken out, so then for this year, so then we can risk this little scuffle. This is the reaction that they probably expected, but they say, well, we already transported most of the grain, we don't need it, we filled our depots or whatever silos in our countries, so basically. But that's my interpretation of this, which could be obviously erroneous because information come every day. Like this information is extra, obviously, from the one that I had yesterday. So according to experts, this may indicate preliminary launch of this drone from one of the civilian vessels chartered by Kiev or its Western supporters to export agricultural products from Ukrainian ports. On Saturday, the Russian Defense Ministry said that Moscow was suspending its participation in the grain deal following Ukraine's drone attack on vessels of the Russian Black Sea Fleet in Sevastopol. I don't know, remember Dunkirk? Sorry to drag you back there so long ago. In Dunkirk, Adolf Hitler gave an order to stop advancing towards the coast and massacring the French and I don't know if it was Canadian at that time, French and British armies that were trapped over there, surrounded, all right, encircled, and they could have just squeezed and up. But he stopped. Some people said because he wanted in the meantime to ask the Brits, hey guys, we can queue up, let's you know, shake hands and stop this, let's have an armistice or something, let's end this. But the Brits had other thoughts from many historical books that I read, and they didn't want to do that whatsoever, because the prize was Germany, not anything else. Why? Because Great Britain declared war only to Germany when Germany invaded Poland, but it did not declare war on the other aggressor, which was Soviet Union from the east. Remember, they invaded Poland. So if Great Britain had a defensive pact with Poland, was to defend Poland not only against Germany, but also any invader. And they didn't care about that when the other side invaded, which is the Soviet Union. That tells me it was everything kind of directed towards Germany, not towards anybody else who would just conquer, or let's say Germany would not have attacked and the Soviet Union would have invaded Poland. Then what, Great Britain? That means you would have not declare war on Soviet Union, or let's say Soviet Union would have invaded first, and then the next day Germany. Which one would you have declare war? I tell you, the same one, Germany. Germany was the prize, not Soviet Union. Why? It was too strong. And if you look, one of the strategies and I don't know, dogmas or principles of Great Britain, as it is in England, was no strong ruler or country in the territorial Europe, in the continent. Nothing. We have to make sure there's no one that is strong over there. And this time was Germany must have been cut. Anyway, so coming back to this little situation here, the Russians did not learn lessons, and they did, okay, let's have the corridor, have this, and these guys didn't care. They just did what they did because they knew it was all over for this year, probably with the grain, and we did it. What are they going to do? Get upset? So what? See you maybe next year, about, I don't know, June, July, when we need the grain again from Ukraine, if there's a Ukraine, and under what circumstances. So I think the Russians have a little bit of a case here of withdrawing, getting out of this deal, and no more grain for you, or for us, or for anybody else from Ukraine. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.